You know, every business, from a tiny coffee shop to a huge tech company, is always asking the same question. Is this new project, this new idea, a smart investment? Getting that answer right can be the difference between success and failure. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful tool that helps answer that exact question: net present value. So let me start by asking you a question. Is $100 in your hand right now worth the same as $100 that someone promises to give you a year from now? I think deep down we all know the answer is no, right? And that simple, powerful idea is really the key to all of this. And what we're really talking about here is a core principle in finance called the time value of money. All it means is that money you have today is more valuable than the same amount of money in the future. Think of it like this. A dollar today is like a seed you can plant right now and watch it grow. A dollar next year is still just a seed. So why exactly is today's money worth more? Well, it really comes down to two big things. First, you can invest it. That $100 can start working for you immediately, earning interest or returns. And second, there's inflation. You know this. Over time, prices go up, which means that same $100 just won't buy as much in the future. Now, to actually measure this difference in value, we use something called a discount rate. This is a super important idea. Basically, it's the return you could be making on a different investment with about the same amount of risk. You can think of it as your opportunity cost, what you're giving up by putting your money in this project instead of that one. So how do we actually use that discount rate to make a decision? Well, that's where net present value, or NPV, finally comes into the picture. NPV is the tool that takes this whole idea of the time value of money and makes it practical. It gives us a clear, data-driven way to make a call. At its heart, net present value is a pretty straightforward calculation. What it does is it looks at all the cash you expect an investment to bring in over its lifetime. Then, using that discount rate, it figures out what each of those future payments is actually worth today. You add all that up, and then you subtract what the investment cost you in the first place. So in other words, NPV creates a level playing field. It translates all that future money back into today's dollars. That way, you can make a real apples-to-apples comparison between the money you're spending right now and the money you hope to get back later. And maybe the best part of all this is that it boils down to a super simple rule for making a decision. Once you've done the math, NPV gives you a clear, unambiguous signal, yes or no. And the rule couldn't be simpler. If the net present value is positive, that means the project is expected to create more value than it costs. That's a green light. It's a go. But if the NPV is negative, that's a warning sign that the project will actually cost you more than it's worth. That's a clear red light. You stop. It's a fundamental principle in finance. The assumption is that an investment with a positive NPV is going to be profitable. And really, as a rule, those are the only kinds of projects that should even be on the table for serious consideration. Okay, so theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's walk through a simple example to see how NPV actually works when you have to make a choice. All right, here's the breakdown. Let's say step 1, you invest $1,000 in a project today. That's your initial cost. Step 2, you expect that project to pay you back $1,200 1 year from now. Now, you can't just subtract one from the other. You have to account for the time value of money. So we discount that future $1,200, and what we get is our NPV result. And in this case, the result is a positive $90. Now, that number is really important. It's not just the profit. It's the actual net value this investment creates measured in today's dollars. And since that number is positive, the NPV rule gives us a crystal clear signal. This is a good investment. So, why does all this matter so much? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. Why is this such a critical tool for anyone making financial decisions? Now, of course, no tool is perfect. NPV has some real strengths, but also some big weaknesses you have to be aware of. The big pro is that it's built on the time value of money, and it gives you a single dollar value that's super easy to understand. But on the flip side, it's only as good as the numbers you feed it. It relies heavily on your estimates for the future, and if those are wrong, your NPV will be wrong. It also doesn't tell you anything about the size of the project or its overall efficiency, just the total value it might create. So net present value is really more than just a formula. It's a mindset. It forces you to think critically about the future and what an opportunity is truly worth. So the next time you're faced with a big investment decision, you can ask yourself, what's the net present value here? The answer might be exactly what you need to make the right call.